Nze. Hi, Didi Amara. Hi, John Dolo. Good morning to you all. Are we prepared for the new trading day? Are we excited about today? Sound a little. Can you in- can you increase the volume of your system first? Let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. Let me try as much as possible to do something to my settings here. Um, I don't think I really have anything. Okay. So is it better now? I think it's okay now. So let's start. The first pair we want to be looking at this morning is the GBP which we analyzed during the course of yesterday. And so, what do we have here on the GBP remember last yesterday we discovered the reversal pattern at this point, and this is what we had here. There's some golden structure. We saw price since break touching this area. We saw rejections of this area before we saw the final breakout of structure during the course of yesterday, and a retest which confirms the possibility of a buy momentum. And since yesterday, we've been juxtaposing between 1.235 and 1.231. As we can see, price is still right within our buy opportunity zone, and so we are still expecting price to move further up. And then if price can move beyond this level, then we want to be locking in our profit or move at this point. If price comes around this area, we want to be locking our profit at our entry point, so that even in case price comes back down, we be will be break even on this one. So the reason why we are going to be looking at profit around this area, how many pips is that? I think around 40 pips thereabout. We can make it we can make it bring it down a little bit. Um, that's around 35 pips. The reason why we are trying to lock in the profits move stop loss to break even at this point is simply because we need to consider the long-term bearish momentum on the GBP USD, because we're still within a bearish momentum and anything can actually happen. And the only reason why we are buying this is because of the reversal pattern we identified here during the course of last week trading session, where we saw traction in the buying momentum building up behind the scenes, and the breakout of structure gave us a signal that we might be going bullish, and the bullish momentum can actually might actually be a retracement of the impulse leg, where we now see price doing a a trend continuation to the downside. So we really need to be mindful on this one. So the trade is still moving as planned since yesterday, and we're still in this one together. However, it is also possible that price might want to come and test this neckline before it moves up. So we really need to put that into consideration too as well. Price might test that before it moves up. So in that regard, we might want to be moving our stop loss a little bit further to around 50 pips, so that we can catch any sudden movement at this point in time. So okay, can UK oil? I will do UK oil. We did UK oil yesterday. You were not around. Okay, after this one we'll do UK oil. UK oil is part of what we are going to talk about today. So this is what we want to be looking on for this one. And when I look closely again, I saw this trend line around this area, which might also be our guide going forward. Somewhere around here, I saw this trend line, and we might want to be using this too as our guide stick, our yardstick going into the new day. So we are actually how many hours into the UK session? We are around 3 hours thereabouts into the UK session, and 2 hours close to the US session. And definitely during the merger between these two sessions is when we'll be expecting that traction to happen. If it's going to go upside, then we will know, or if it's going to go down, we will know at that point in time. So we will also be using this trend line as a yardstick that will guide us into bullish momentum going forward. So that has been said on the GBP USD, and if we move on to, okay, let's do UK oil. Like Kana said, let's move UK oil to our top list. So what has happened on UK oil? If we move to our 4 hours time frame, during the course of yesterday's trading session, we were looking at a buy opportunity zone around this area, which never happened. We actually expected a retracement phase to happen. We expected a retracement phase to happen from this point. We were looking at probably prices going to respect this key level at 108, or probably this trend line at around 107, where we'll be looking for a reversal pattern within this area, breakout of structure, confirmation, and to the upside. However, this did not happen. And remember, I stated yesterday that if we do have a breakdown of this trend line, a retest of that trend line will be a confirmation that we will be going downtrend. And if we look closely into what is happening of late, in the last, I think, 16 to 24 hours, we saw this impulse leg, we saw this impulse move, and then we saw a sharp rejection of this area of this bullish trend line at this point, after which we saw something that looks like a downtrend continuation. Now, since the buy opportunity here is not working anymore, we're going to delete this, and then we might probably be looking for a new key level that we want to work with at this point. So if we zoom left and look at what structure is giving us so far, and we pull out our line chart to be able to get a clarity into what structure is giving us, then we might probably be looking at around this area as a new K level, considering the bearish momentum we're seeing. So if we bring down our key level into this somewhere around here, and why is that? We can see we have a support level here, we had support level here, we had resistant level here, we had the support and resistance, we had a breakout of structure around here, then we had the breakdown here, and we have resistance, support, resistance around this area, which make this level a strong one for us to work with. So with a key level around 106, so we will have to relabel this 106 at this point. So allow me to extend this a little bit. Okay, and this one to 330. So we have something like this for now. And then if we bring out our line chart, or bring out our candle chart, we can now see that the rejection of that key level has already happened. As we can see what happened in the last 8 hours, we saw that rejection and we saw this. So what we want to be looking forward to is this: we might be placing a sell order right below the structure, which is here, where we will be looking for a quick opportunity to the downside in the form of this. However, we still not cannot jump into conclusion at this point, as we really need to go down to the lower time frame to see what is happening at this point in time. So scaling down to a much lower time frame, let's say the 1 hour time frame, what can we see on the 1 hour time frame? Well, on the 1 hour time frame, the first thing we'll notice here is this. We saw a rejection of this level. After this impulse leg, we saw a rejection of 103. We saw price move into that key level, and then we saw price come back into this area. So at this point in time, we don't know if this level is still going to hold, where price will actually go back up, break out of the key level, which will be the new neckline of a double bottom structure, and a confirmation to a trend continuation to the upside. So at this point, it is very pertinent that we remain very, very cautious, as we can see that we have a demand zone around this area. This area has a memory for demanding, for buying power at this point. So if I draw and label this, let's give it a green, like our, so we have something like this, and allow me to label this for clarity's sake. We have demand zone here, and let's give this a green, and let's put this right inside. So we have a demand zone here. As we can see, we saw price rejected this area, we saw rejection here, we saw rejection here, we saw rejection here, we saw one rejection here this morning, and price is right back at that zone now. So for sake of clarity at this point, there is a possibility that we might be having another reversal pattern around here, structure supporting a trend continuation to the upside from this point. So what I was saying is that we might be having a situation where we see a reversal setup around here, giving us a signal for a bullish momentum at this point, considering the fact that we have this demand zone. And we all know that we are psychological human beings, and it's human being that's trading this market. And definitely, we tend to remember what happened in the past. And if we see what has happened in the past, we see that when price comes to around 103 area, in the last 24 hours, I think. Let me see. I think in the last 1 week, thereabouts. Yes, in the last 1 week since the beginning of April, we saw that price has been rejecting that level multiple times, and we can see here we see breakout of structure, we see breakout of a double bottom, we saw breakout of a double bottom structure here. This is a double bottom structure at this point, and then we saw another breakout of double double bottom structure around here too as well. This is a double bottom structure here, so we saw a breakout, a retest of that area. Then we also have a double bottom structure around this area too as well, and then we saw that breakout happen here too. So and a retest into that area here, giving us that bullish move we saw last week, and now we are right back at that zone. So what I'll be saying is this: since I said we've realized that this is a demand zone, then for confirmation's sake, we might be looking for a breakdown of that demand as a signal, after which we see a retest of that demand area with signs that support a trend continuation to the downside, probably in the form of a head and shoulder, 1 2 3 reversal pattern, double top structure, whatever reversal, probably a rising wedge, whatever it is, then we can be looking for the trend continuation to the downside. And if the trend continuation downside happens, where will our stop take profit target be? We might be looking at this last demand level as our take profit target. Let's look at 98.50. If the sell finally happens, we'll be looking at 98.50 at this point. So that's 98.50 here. And the reason why we have a take profit target here is if we look left, we can see structures around this area. So if we enter after the confirmation of the signal, and what do I mean by confirmation? A breakdown, a retest, look for your structure, then trend continuation downside. Then around 100.50 will ever be the first take profit target, and we look at the second at around 98.50 area. However, considering the long-term bullish momentum on this one, and price action sitting right on the demand zone, and definitely we might be looking forward to a reversal at this point, where we see a breakout of structure, then a retest into structure with a trend continuation to the upside. And so if that happens, then we want to be buying right above that key level we've identified here, which will definitely also serve as a neckline to this double bottom structure if it finally happens. And then we will be looking at a take profit target of at least a minimum of 112, thereabout 112. And the reason why that is just because of this area where we saw multiple rejections by sellers. As you can see, as soon as price got to 113.114 area, we saw multiple rejection by the sellers, giving us the clue that probably this is a strong level for sellers at this point. So we'll be having our take profit target here around this area if we are going bullish, and that will only happen if we have a breakout of structure, a retest into structure, and a trend continuation to the upside. So on the UK oil can, we have two scenarios we can work around with at this point. The first one is this demand zone here. Sorry, let me delete this. We no longer need this line anymore. We no longer need it anymore. So we have something like this, and if we look closely, we can see that we have a bullish trend line around here. We have a bullish trend line around here. We can identify that. Let's make this a green, and price has come back into that area. That is another more sign that we might be going bullish. However, like I said a breakdown here, a retest, structure confirming trend continuation to the downside will prompt us to enter a sell on this one. However, if price, even if we have a breakdown here, it could be a sharp one where we see a sharp price movement to the downside, then a trend continuation to the upside. So we need to be very mindful of how we take advantage of this trade. So we might see the downtrend. So it's not advisable that we take that signal. We wait for confirmations to happen, because there is a possibility that price might just go up, retest, and continue to the upside, breakout of structure, and continue to the upside. So I think I've made myself clear on this one. We have a sell if price breakdown and retest the demand zone, and we have a buy if price breakout of the key level at 106 to the upside. So I think that's clear for you on can. All right. So I don't know if you have any other questions so far. Oh, thank you for the compliments. I'm glad you're finding it understandable. Okay, great. Can, I don't think you have any question. If you do, drop a comment because I want to switch on to the next pair we want to be looking at for today. I think let's go back to GBPUSD. Let's see what's happening on GBPUSD. I think okay, things are still going as planned. Okay, we're still having that bullish candle moving. All right. So let's go to GBPCHF. What's happening on GBPCHF? Did anyone take this trade yesterday? Did anyone take this trade yesterday? This move, this move. We saw this breakout of structure. Did anyone take this trade yesterday on GBPCHF? Okay. Yesterday we saw this opportunity lining up before our highs, and we were able to take advantage of this trade as we saw a breakout of structure, and I added position at this point when I saw. Give me a moment. I saw a structure around this area lining up in form of a pennant. I saw something like this. I saw something like this. So I was saying if price breaks out of that structure and we see a retest of that structure, we are going to take. So I actually placed the pending order at this point before I went to sleep yesterday night, and it got triggered this morning. I think around it got triggered around 4 to 5 hours ago, and I'm in profit on my second position right here, and we're running about 40 pips, and from entry point we are running about how many pips now? 83 pips. So we have like 120 pips in total on this one. So mind you, what I want to be doing at this point is to move my stop loss to somewhere around the entry point of my second entry, where should anything happen, at least we'll be profitable with this one. So it's advisable to move our stop loss if you actually took advantage of that trade, to move our stop loss to the second entry point around 1.22550 thereabout, on 1.22600, and then let's see how price reacts on this one. So on this one we just let it go, and let's see what happens at the end of today, and then tomorrow we shall give an update on this one. Mine 27 newbie here, you're welcome, you're welcome. With time you get to understand the nitty-gritties as you keep on watching. So what we do here is just simply we analyze the market, and we give an hint into what our expectation is going to be like for the day, and then we use our discretion to execute the trade as pattern evolves in our favor. So moving on to the next pair we want to be talking about, we want to be talking about USD JPY. So on USD JPY, very interesting enough, price is right within our buy opportunity zone, and as you can see, we've since yesterday we've been seeing an immense consolidation around this area, where it appears there is an indecision right now. Participants are not sure, are we going to go uptrend or are we going to go downtrend on this one. As you can see, the decision still holds at this point. And like I said during our session yesterday, I said we should identify a buy opportunity right within this area at 130.1, which also shares a confluence with this red trend line that we identified here yesterday, and also shares a confluence with the key level at 130.15, and also a confluence with the bullish trend line we identified on the daily time frame that we can see here. So, with price right within that area, it's becoming more visible that we might be bullish on the USD JPY. And right now, we're still not yet in this one, as we continue to look for structures that will support a trend continuation to the upside on this one. So how do we know if we are going to be buying the USD JPY today, tomorrow, whatever? First of all, we know that we are on the bullish trend line, the green trend line that we saw on the higher time frame. If you allow me, let me bring back the daily time frame for us to see. That's the green bullish trend line we saw, and that's what we have here. And at this point, it's a very very sensitive area. I mean, this point here, it's a very very sensitive area considering the confluence, the three parameters we have that share same confluence here: the key level, the bearish trend line, the bullish trend line at this point. So we really need to be very very careful as we need signals, then confirmation to join the trade. So there is a possibility that we might be having a breakdown of this of both trend lines, that is the bearish and the bullish trend line, to the downside, probably to this level at 129.500, and we have a retest of that level or the key level as a confirmation for a downtrend continuation to the for a downtrend continuation. However, a breakout of structure to the upside, as if price continue to reject the key level, giving us tendencies that a trend continuation is going to happen, a breakout of structure or signal confirmation at a retest, then a continuation to the upside will confirm our our standing bias on this one. So for more clarity, it's appropriate that we go to a much lower time frame to see what is happening around that area. I mean the buy opportunity area that we identified yesterday. So if we look at what is happening here, if we look in and zoom in closely into what's happening here, it looks more like a reversal pattern, but it's not. It looks more like an inverse head and shoulder, but it's not. It just looks like that. You see, we have the left shoulder here, we have the head, and then we're supposed to be having the right shoulder, but price has broken below the left shoulder, hereby negating that reversal setup we recall that we call the inverse head and shoulder. So at this point, what we want to be looking out for is this: we still have our key level holding here. Allow me to extend this key level so that we can have things in good perspective. Okay, good. So we still have our key level here, and then we saw this move that has been happening the last couple of hours. We saw this move, and we saw this engulfing candle, and then price is coming back down here. We might be having price go back up, that is break above that key level, at the same time break above that bullish trend line that we identified on the daily time frame. Then we can look forward to a retest of key level or retest of this bullish trend line for confirmation to join the rally to the upside. So that is one way we can look at a bullish bias on this one. So let me repeat what I just said so far. There is a possibility that we have a bearish momentum. Like I said there is a possibility that I said that this area is a very very sensitive area, and why is it a sensitive area? We consider the bullish trend line, we consider this bearish trend line, and then we consider the key level at this point, and also we identify this buy opportunity area, which also falls within our golden zone area after we looked at the retracement of that of this impulse leg. So if we look at it closely again, I think the impulse leg we identified here yesterday was not is not appears not to be holding. We have one impulse leg there, and we have another one from this point. So if we choose to take this one, where will our buy opportunity be? Buy opportunity will be a little bit down, and that will fall around this. We no longer need this buy opportunity zone again because we took advantage of that trade and it was profitable. We might be looking at a buy opportunity around this area again. So what this simply means is that we have a big buy opportunity zone at this point, and let me extend this buy opportunity. Let me extend this up a little bit so let's just have just one big buy opportunity zone. So like I said, the possibility of a breakdown can still happen. of this bearish and bullish trend line, a retest to send price down, or we remain patient enough to look for reversal pattern within this area, breakout of structure confirmation to join the trend to the upside. Our take profit target still remain 132 area, where we'll be looking at around 150 pips profit target. And if price comes further down where we see reversal pattern within this area, then our TP might go into like 200 pips thereabout. So at this point, this is what I said here, and I moved to the 15 minutes time frame, and I said the possibility of another bullish bias can be lining up for us here again. As we saw this move down, we saw this rejection, we saw a little break above that key level, we saw price come down to this area. So there is a possibility that we might have a price break above this key level, retest this key level, then break above this bullish trend line we identified on the daily time frame, after which we look for confirmation to buy the USD. So I think that is more clear enough for everyone to understand at this point. So let's see how price reacts in the next couple of hours, and then that will determine what we are going to be doing on this one. So for the USDJPY, we are still keeping our fingers crossed and watching and monitoring price action as time goes by. Xavier, holla at you. How are you today? So great. Moving on. XAUSD is what we'll be looking at now. On XAUUSD, this is a very, very, very complicated pair so far, as structures has been very, very, what word will I use for it? Very ambiguous, dicey, and we really need to be very, 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 very careful on this one. If you remember the first during last week, I was still holding a bullish bias on the gold, and I think I'm still holding a bullish bias because all the selling momentum we've been seeing so far in the last couple of days, to me, is more like a retracement, where a retracement, a consolidation at the same time, where I think participants are still very, very very, very unsure of what is going to happen, probably waiting for a release or a fundamental news or something to make a decision on this one. And I think I was going through Twitter yesterday, and I saw some excerpts on how they are proposing how dollar is going to crash, whatever. But personally, I really don't do the fundamentals at all. I believe in looking at price movement and determine what is going to happen based on what I see is happening on the chart, because the price movement definitely will tell us how participants in the market are feeling about the current situation at hand. So let us look at XAUSD together. I want us to have a clean chart because I don't want to delete this chart that I have here. So I'll be pulling out a new chart from here, and then I would like to give an analysis on this one. Okay, so I have something like this on here, and that's on XAUUSD. I have a strong demand zone around 1850 area, which if you can see, price buyers have been rejecting this area. We had one happen the first trading day of the month. We saw it happen on the 3rd of May, and then we saw multiple rejection on the 4th of May before we saw that bullish move, and then price came back into this demand zone yesterday, and since it came back to that zone yesterday, we've been seeing an indecision phase, more of like a consolidation at this area, and I'm thinking that this is an area where buyers are actually having the strength, because we saw this bullish move sometime last week, and we might be having another one from this area. So if we're going to be having one from this area, how do we want to take advantage of that? um Majority in the market are considering selling opportunities on this one. Well, it's obvious the reason why people are thinking of selling the gold, and the reason is simply because we have a bearish momentum since mid-April, which we can see if we scroll on our line chart. We see something like this. I think the first one is like this. That's the first one, and then we have a second one that looks more like I think this. This is the second one. So I'll make this one a little bit lighter, and so that's the second one. So it's more of a downtrend, and from the look of things at this point, we will be having a key level right around this area, I guess. That's 1860. And why are we having a key level around this area? Why are we having a key level around this area? The reason is just simply because if you look left, we see that we had a resistance around this area, we had support around this area, and then we had something like a resistance support, like an indecision right on top of this level, and then we saw one happen. We saw rejection, a resistance too, during the trading session, I think the Asian trading session, and we saw rejection of that area too as well. So one, the possibility of a downtrend continuation is very, very possible, as we can probably a rejection of this area to send price going down. That is one. And then the second one is considering this strong demand zone. If price does not break this demand zone, then definitely we want to be looking for a breakout of structure, a signal in the form of a confirmation to send price going to the upside. So this is what I will be looking out for this going forward. I want to be looking out for a breakout of structure to buy, a retest for confirmation, and then we have a trend continuation to the upside. So we'll be having our entry point right above this area after our confirmation is formed, or you can test run with your with the signal. Then, though we have a take profit target around this area, but for the meantime, I want to be using um, the the supply zone around this area as my take profit target for the meantime. After which we see how price react at this point, then we can now decide if we want to continue with the bullish momentum. That is, if we have a breakout of sorry that is, if we have a breakout of that structure, the retest, then we might be joining that. But for the meantime, let us hold on this. We have 1910 as profit target for this at this point, and then let's see how price reacts. However, if we want to see things more clearly, if we go down to a much lower time, let's say 15 minutes time frame, let's see what's happening on the 15 minutes time frame. So on the 15 minutes time frame, what do we see here on the 15 minutes time frame? On the 15 minutes, we have something that looks more like this. We have a supply zone around this area. Why am I calling the supply zone? We have multiple rejection, as we can see. As soon as price broke down this key level, we saw rejection of this area. We saw this selling move, this impulse legs, this bearish impulse leg. Then we saw multiple rejection again one more time of this area, and we saw this candle move during the last 1 hour, and this is more. That's why I said it's more ambiguous and very, very dicey. So we really need to be very, very conscious, as if we have this period as a supply zone and we see a retest into this area, we can, okay, hold on, let me zoom in so that we can see what we have at this point. Okay, so we see multiple rejections here. We see multiple rejection. We see multiple rejection, and if I bring out my line chart, we have a key level sitting around this area, and let's make this a purple for clarity's sake. Let me make it deeper. So so we have a key level here. Sorry, I want to bring up my line chart one more time, and let's draw this. I'm going to make this thicker and let's make it a red to affirm selling. So around this point on the 15 minutes time frame, we might be having a short-term opportunity to take advantage of. So right here at this point, we saw after this impulse leg, we saw this reversal pattern at this point, a breakdown of structure, and we want to be looking for a retest into structure. It can be around here, it can be on the trend line, after which we look for signs that a trend continuation to the downside is very very obvious. So we want to be looking to sell if we have, considering this breakdown, we want to be looking to sell if not at that trend line, we could be selling at this point, and looking at take profit target at the projection of this impulse leg here, sorry, this bearish impulse leg here. We're looking at the projection of this bearish impulse leg. We use our extension tool to confirm that, and then we'll be having something like a take profit target at 127.2%. That's around 1 4. So let's just put it at 147. And if price moves further down, then we will be looking to move our stop loss into following price action. So if we have our take profit target stop loss right above that area, so and we have around so we have something like this at this point. So um if we have that breakdown, then we won't be selling here. So what I'm seeing here on the 15 minute times is just a short-term opportunity. However, if we remember, we are still within you stream roller USDSEK. Okay, I'll look at USDSEK after this one. So this is what I'm just thinking. This is a short-term momentum, short-term opportunity that I think is happening at this point. So if it triggers here, we take profit target around this area. But please and please ensure that as soon as price moves a bit, let's move our stop loss to entry point, and and let's see how it goes. On a long term, we go back to the 4 hours time frame. On a long term perspective, I'm still expecting that bullish momentum, and that will only happen if we have a breakout of structure at this point. So that is my perspective on the gold. And oil. Ajawi, what oil? I talked about oil a couple of minutes ago, and we're already running out of time. So because okay, let's see if we can also talk about oil. I don't know which oil you're talking about, but we talked about UK oil, and I don't know how you can get that video anyway. So that is that on gold. So my next pair is on GBP CAD. It's on GBP CAD, and on GBP CAD, if we go to the daily time frame, it's obvious we're on a downtrend. Very obvious we're on a downtrend. We have a very strong bearish momentum since since February. We have a very strong bearish momentum. We have the main one here, which is the red tick one, and we have the dotted red one below it, which is the temporary bearish trend line. So with these two trend line identified here, definitely we really want to be looking for selling opportunities on this one, if you agree with me. So though we had this bullish move yesterday, I want to be looking at that as a retracement of that impulse like we saw here. So want to be looking for structures that will give us an opportunity to sell the pound against the card. And how do we do that? So moving on to a scaling down to a much lower time frame, let's say the 4 hours time frame, for instance. The first thing we'll notice is that we really need to have a key level to work around with. So if we look left and bring out our line chart for clarity's sake, we'll definitely have a key level around this area, right at 160, 1.609. Is it 1.609 or 1.60850? Thereabout. Yeah, 1.60850 is more visible to be called a key level at this point. And why is that? We saw a support level here, we saw a breakdown, we saw multiple rejection at this point. Before that move came down, we saw a breakout of that structure, we saw a retest being a support level, we saw a breakdown, we saw rejection here, then price has come back to this area at this point. And since price came back, we saw this bearish engulfing candle that swallowed the other bullish candle that we saw here. They swallowed the two bullish candle, giving us a clue into a possible strength in the sellers at this juncture in this market. So allow me to label this. I think 1.060850. I think 1.60850 key level at 1.60850 at this point. Let's place at the top. So we have it here. So this is going to be our key level going forward. And what does the key level do to us? The key level will serve as a yardstick, as a meter that will guide us into taking our new trade. And what does that mean? It means that we are not going to take any trade right above this key level. We only want to take trades below this key level. We want to take trade below the key level. So now with this information we have, let's move down to a much lower time frame in the form of the 1 hour time frame, and let's look at what structure is giving us at that point. Remember, we are on a bearish momentum, and on the 1 hour time frame we saw this bullish momentum happen, which to me, I want to see it as a retracement phase of that impulse leg we identified there on the daily time frame. So right now, as soon as price got to this one point, to this key level, we saw we saw multiple rejection on the 1 hour time frame, after which we saw bullish engulfing candles. We saw like 3 or 4 bullish engulfing candles that gripped the market, and then there's this move that is happening now. On the 1 hour candle, we still have 3 minutes left for this candle to exhaust, and we don't know how this candle is going to end. But we want to be looking for to a lower high at this point. That is, after this move to the upside, we want to be after this rejection here. We want to be looking for a lower high. That is, price must not go above this key level at this point. So we want to be looking for a lower high. Probably price come around this area or around this area, then we look for structures that will confirm a trend continuation to the downside. However, I actually placed a set sell stop order around this area at 1.59994, and then from the way things are looking at this point, if I look left, I see structures lining up around this area too as well. So I want to have a pending order around this area at the end of this close of candle that will be happening next 2 minutes. So we have a take profit again at 1.60 for the main time, which is around 160 pips, and the reason why that is because of this demand zone I saw here, demand zone and resistance level, which is more like a key level at this point. So because of that, I place my take profit target here. So remember, as price moves in our favor, we always want to move our stop loss to guide our our um, our price going forward. So let's see what happens here at this point. So lastly, someone was asking us to look at USDS USDSEK, Swedish krona, right? I think that's Swedish krona, I guess. So on the Swedish krona, the first thing we want to look at is the higher time frame. What is happening on the daily time frame? Okay, I think we'll have to go on the weekly time frame to see it more clearly what is happening on this one. So on the weekly time frame, definitely it's obvious that we are on a bullish trend, and that can be seen if we bring out our line chart here and we look at what has been happening here. We have this, we have one that is we give it a green, and then we have another one forming from this point moving forward. And let's make this a little bit lighter than the previous one. So we have two bullish trend line already identified on the weekly time frame. However, I think there is another one I see here. If we bring out our line chart, there is another one I see here that looks like a reversal pattern that was formed. Hold on a second. This is interesting. You'll be surprised at what this is going to give us. So we have this reversal structure. I think I think like this is okay. So if you look at this closely, we have a reversal structure around this area, and it looks more like this. So we have a reversal structure. We saw a breakout of that structure earlier this year, and then we saw a retest during March and April, after which we saw price move to the upside. So we will be more of the we will be expecting a bullish momentum on the USDSEK. However, we really need to go down to a much lower time frame to really see what is happening at this point. So on the lower time frame, like say the daily time on the 4 hours time frame, for instance, we have a level around here to play with, which looks more like this. If we go left, we can see that we have a structure right at 9.9, I think 9.9, I guess. We have a structure at 9.9, and with this structure here, we can use this to be our guide going forward. So one thing now with the structure at this level, I think 10 is okay. Let's make it 10. That's a strong psychological level. So this level is very, very important at this point. And remember, we have this bullish trend line. If we have a breakdown of this key level, a retest into this key level, then we should be looking forward to a sell opportunity that might see us taking the bullish trend line as our take profit target at this point, after which we'll be expecting a trend continuation to the upside on this one. However, that will be a counter trend opportunity. That is, we are taking a trade against the moving trend. So if you really are a patient one at this point, I would advise that you wait for this correction to happen, this retracement to happen, and let's see where this retracement will end before we can now take advantage of the continuation to the upside. So that is my opinion on the USD SEC, and I do really do hope I made some sense at this point. So for me on the USD SEC, we want to be looking for a retracement to happen, because the bullish move is all gone. It's all overbought at this point, unless you want to be looking for short-term bullish momentum. But if you are a person that are looking for a long-term perspective on this one, definitely we want to be looking for a breakdown of that structure. We wait for a price to come down into either this bullish trend line or this neckline, or this reversal pattern we identified here on the weekly time frame, to join the rally to the upside. And if you're a you're a counter trend trader, you can take an opportunity of that retest of that key level to the downside. So on this note, I would like to thank everyone for participating and being involved in this session. Thank you very much, and I do hope that by tomorrow we should be having an opportunity to to be excited from the peers we looked at today. On this note, I thank everyone, and I wish you best of luck today. And do Steamroller, thank you very much. Thanks for the compliments. I really appreciate that. So tomorrow we'll look at this tomorrow. Thank you, and do have a wonderful day. Bye.